Today we are going to discuss a very important psychological thriller, which is Crime and Punishment, which is written by Fyodor Dostoevsky. We need to note that Fyodor Dostoevsky is actually a profound kind of person who is actually associated with the school of psychology and also existentialism. So ideas like literary criticism, school of psychology, existentialism, etc. are actually profoundly shaped by his ideas, we can say. And in his novel Crime and Punishment also we can see those kinds of existential elements. So it's more like a psychological novel, more associated with psychoanalytic features of the characters, we can see. So when we come across the novel, you will understand more about the novel. So let's begin the video lecture. So when we come across the writer Fyodor Dostoevsky, we can note that there is a best known novella of him which is called The Notes from the Underground, and also there are 4 sets of novels. One is our Crime and Punishment, and then we can see Idiot is there, and Possessed is another novel, and also The Brothers Karamazov. These are his important novels. So Dostoevsky is actually a novelist who likes to explore the human psychoanalytic features and also his themes like insanity, murder, mysteries, psychological problems. Regarding these kinds of things, he explores or exposes to the readers through his novels. So he specialized in the analysis of the pathological states of the mind which lead to insanity, murder, psychological problems. All these things he actually discusses in his novels, and Crime and Punishment is one such novel, we can say. And we can also see that he also explored many kinds of things that lead to tyrannical domination, humiliation, and also murderous rage. All these things he will discuss through his novels, we can see. So before coming to the plotline of the novel, you need to note that this book was actually written during the time period in which Russian people was actually still confused regarding whether they should become part of the British Empire or they should be able to rule themselves. That kind of confusion prevailed because the capital of Russia during that time is actually stricken with poverty, and also many other problems were there, and they believe that this is because of the British reign or the British Empire is still part of this. Or we can see the British architects actually founded the capital of Russia. Because of this reason, some of them are thinking still they have to be part of the British Empire, some others are thinking they should attain independence. So in that case we can see that the people of Russia were suffering during that time. The poverty-stricken city we can see during the novel. In the novel Crime and Punishment, the protagonist's name is Raskolnikov. So this Raskolnikov actually walks through the city and see the crime scenes during the evening, night time, and also the poor people who are actually wandering there. All these things actually shook his mind. So we can see Raskolnikov is actually shaken by those incidents. So these kinds of things actually reflect the real life situation of Russia during that time, we can say. So whenever you read a literary work or a book, you should always understand the context in which it is written. So that will be very helpful for your exams also, and you can also get a good experience regarding the novel and the novelist and also the contextual situation during that time period. You need to also note that just like we study novels like Tom Jones or The Power and the Glory or The Old Man and the Sea, just like that we are not able to study this novel because it is more like a psychoanalytic kind of novel form. So the characters' psychological aspects are actually explored by the writer Fyodor Dostoevsky, and because of this reason the novel do not have a specific order, and we can see it is not like it have a definite starting, middle and end, and not that much too much happenings are also not taking place in the play. Only if you read the primary material you will get the feel of the character, and also the internal conflicts of the character you will get only if you read the primary material of the novel. So we will be discussing this with the perspective of an exam point of view, and we will discuss the major themes and what all internal conflicts are actually faced by Raskolnikov and what are the things that he does. So we can see that Raskolnikov is actually an impoverished student, and he will propound a theory that a superhuman kind of person who is actually more intelligent and more better than other people, they are actually above the law and they are better than other human beings. That kind of idea Raskolnikov will try to prove. So for proving that, what he does is that he will kill a pawnbroker who is an old lady and try to prove that if he is actually intelligent enough, the police will not catch him. So that way he will try to do that, but when he does the crime, he will do some mistakes also. So we can see that while he kills the pawnbroker, he had to kill the half sister also of the pawnbroker because accidentally half-sister also was there during that time, and because of that, to terminate all the proofs, he was supposed to kill. So the murder of one innocent person also he did during that time. So when he decided to kill the pawnbroker, what he was thinking is that she's actually an old pawnbroker and she had many enemies. Many people are actually suffering because of her. Because of that reason, if we kill that pawnbroker also, it will be actually a great help to the society. That way he thinks and kills her. But what happened is that the half-sister of this old pawnbroker also gets killed during the process. So that way guilt will start coming in his mind and he will be psychologically disturbed after this murder. And many days he had many sleepless nights, and he will get an impression like police is actually chasing him and the police officer is actually suspecting him. So that kind of too much mental conflict he have to face throughout his life. And throughout the novel, a reader can also feel that same conflict. We will be traveling with the character. So that way that feel is actually effectively given by Fyodor Dostoevsky in the novel. So definitely you have to read the primary material, Crime and Punishment. That will give you the feel of how a psychoanalytic novel is. And also we should note that this is actually taking place in the background of the Russia while many people were suffering and poverty stricken Russian capital. In that background this novel is written. That also you should know. So regarding the capital city of Russia, it was St. Petersburg. Okay, St. Petersburg is the capital of Russia, and during that time this St. Petersburg is actually flooded with poverty, and also many people were suffering during that time. Criminal activities were taking place during that time, and Raskolnikov is actually fed up with those things, and that way he will think of this kind of murder and these problematic things we can see. And also we need to note the narrative style of the novel. That means here we can see a third person narrator. That means omniscient narrator is actually there in this novel, Crime and Punishment. And most of the time we can see the narrator is actually focusing on Raskolnikov, but at many times we can see the narrator will go wherever he wants, and many other aspects also he is actually showing to the reader. But most of the time we can see the narrator is actually focusing on the main character Raskolnikov. We can also see that the narrator will tell his opinions and also state his opinions regarding many issues, and also try to explain how a criminal's mind will work. And we can see Raskolnikov will actually finally confess to the police that he had done the murder, and we can see he will become like a paranoid person. So after having this mental conflict that he murdered the half-sister also of this old pawnbroker, and also police is suspecting him and too much. So this way Fyodor Dostoevsky is actually trying to explore a criminal's mind and making the readers understand how the mind of a criminal works, how a criminal is trying to justify himself and how he suffers. So all those things are actually discussed in the novel Crime and Punishment. We should know that. You should also note that together with Raskolnikov, there are also some major characters like Ivanovna and his mother, and also we can see there is also a police officer. So regarding that we are not focusing because it is more like a psychological novel. So psychological aspect of the main character is actually the main focus by Fyodor Dostoevsky. So we were discussing regarding the major psychological conflict that happens to Raskolnikov. So regarding the theme of the novel, when we talk about, we can see that poverty is actually an important theme. So here the author is trying to give a message that poverty is something that no one can escape. So if one person is stricken with poverty, he cannot escape from that. So that is the condition of the society. And also this conscience and guilt. So with that, if a person try to go forward, that will kill him. That is the thing. Conscience and guilt will kill a person. That is actually another theme we can see. So it will eat a man's soul, we can say. And crime is not a way to escape from life. That is also an important message given by the novel. And you should know that why this novel Crime and Punishment is considered as part of literature. So in the novel we can see that the work is trying to give a multiple perspective. Many characters, angles and views are actually focused here. And Raskolnikov most importantly discuss about how the mind of a criminal works. And this actually gives the reader more insight into our relationship with the society, how a person is actually related with the society. That kind of message actually, or that kind of idea, or that kind of insight is given by the author Fyodor Dostoevsky in the novel Crime and Punishment, we should say. And the character is also much focused here, how the psychological growth of the character happens and what kind of motives and kind of decisions will make a character to do crimes. Those kinds of things are actually greatly explored in this novel Crime and Punishment, that we should know. And the emotions and feelings of the people are also given much importance in the novel crime and punishment, we should say. So those are the important themes in the novel, and I hope that you will read the primary material of the novel, and that is very much good because this is more like a psychological novel. Just understanding the summary and analysis is not enough. This will be just helpful for your exam point of view, but you should definitely read the primary material of the novel, the crime and the punishment. So that's all for today's video lecture. I hope that you like this video. You can also comment the subject areas which I can take lectures on. So you can suggest the topics. So that's all for today's video. Thank you and have a nice day.